My son was preparing for his mental maths exam. Though I wanted a mechanism that will help him to analyze if day by day he's doing better or not. So we thought of an idea. We thought, why not to create an app that will ask him mental maths questions repeatedly, a time bound app where he can actually track his best score as well. So this is what we have today with you. And on top of that, if the kids are going to code this app themselves, they are going to love it. They are surely going to enjoy it. So without wasting any time, let's get started. But yes. Before starting, please do subscribe to the channel right away. It helps me, it motivates me to give you so much good content that you cannot find even with the paid courses as well. So please do subscribe to the channel now. And all this we are going to do in simple, very simple 5 steps, as you can see on the screen as well. Frame and ask questions, check answers and score, add a timer, best score, and add some graphics to add a little bit of magic. So please do subscribe to the channel and get started with me right away. Create a new project in Scratch, pick a character that will be asking the question and take a background as well. So here I have my character name Nano and I have my background ready. So as we know, the first question was frame and ask question. So how do we ask question? Ask question, we are going to use this block. Ask block and wait. What is the meaning of ask and wait? So it will ask you a question and then it will wait until it is answered. And the answer will be stored in the variable name answer. You can see this variable answer here. This answer will be stored here. When do we want this character to ask the question? Go to events. Yes, when this green flag is clicked. So when green flag is clicked, this character is going to ask a question. But what question it is going to ask? It is going to ask, multiplication. So maybe what is 23 multiplied by 25 or so on. So to store these numbers, we will make 2 variables. So make 2 variables. Maybe we can name them as number 1 and number 2. So here I have my 2 variables, number 1 and number 2. Now we will have to frame the question. And basically, we do not want these number 1 and number 2 to be displayed on the screen. So I will uncheck them. Instead of ask what's your name, I don't want to be asked what's your name. I want it to ask what is number 1 multiplied by number 2. So again, we are going to use this block join. What does this block join do? In this block join, you can actually concatenate 2 different strings. Here, one thing is to be noted when we are asking the questions. My number 1 and number 2 has to be used as a string, because if I use them as a number and actually multiply these 2 numbers, it will display the result. It will not ask 12 multiplied by 12. It will simply ask 144 and wait, which is what we do not want. So here we will use this join command, and instead of my apple and banana, I will use my number 1 and number 2 variables. So how do I want to join? I want to join number 1. Then what is my next string or the next character will be multiplication. So here again, I will have to take another join operator. So I am going to take another join operator because here what do I want? I want number 1, multiplication and number 2. So I want 3 strings to be joined. My number 1 string is number 1 itself and number 2 is multiplication sign, and then at last I want to join it with number 2. Okay, so we have 2 variables. We are also asking the questions, but variables are not still initialized. And how do I want to initialize these number? I want to initialize these number to a random value, so that every time the character is asking a different question, a different multiplication question altogether. So again, I am going to initialize these value, number 1 and number 2. So I want to first of all initialize the value number 1 and number 2. And what value I want to initialize? I want to initialize it to a random number. So a random number between, say, it could be between 2 to 15, or depends upon the difficulty level you want to, create this game. So the difficulty level, if the difficulty level is low, you can probably keep it 2 to 10, otherwise 2 to 15, or you can probably keep it to 2000 as well, your wish. So we have When this flag is clicked, number 1 and number 2 are initialized to a number, any number between 2 to 15, and then this character is going to ask a question and wait. So let's test this much first. Yeah, so when I clicked here, it is asking to multiply by 14. Let me ask again. So this is it. This time it is 11 multiplied by 3. Fine. This we want to ask continuously. We want to ask forever. So what does a forever word reminds you? Forever reminds you of forever block. So let's go to control and pick this forever block. I have this forever block here, but I will have to set it properly. And make sure that your set number 1 and number 2 are also inside forever block, because every time my number 1, number 2 has to be changed. So I want to again and again initialize them to a different number. Okay, so I have forever block. So my step 1, frame and ask question is complete. To check something, what comes in your mind? If block, condition, whatever the answer the user has given is actually the correct result of number 1 multiplied by number 2 or not. So yes, my step 2 is check the answers and score. To check the answer, yes, if we are going to take this if block, we will actually take this if and else block, because here are two conditions. I want to do something if my answer is correct, and I want to do something else if my answer is not correct. So here I am going to frame the actual answer. So here make a note that the operator that I am going to use here is this multiplication. So this is the actual multiplication that will multiply two numbers. Here, because I do not want it to multiply two numbers, I had to use string concatenation. So this, okay, and inside this we will put this, and I want to say if number 1 multiplied by number 2 is equals to result, or the answer. Answer, as I mentioned earlier also, will contain the actual answer that is being entered by the user or by whosoever is using this app. So if number 1 multiplied by number 2 is equals to answer, let's go to looks and say correct. So for testing purpose, here we want to say correct. Say correct for 2 seconds. Otherwise, say wrong or say incorrect. Incorrect for 2 seconds. So let's test this much if it is working fine or not. Okay, is correct. Incorrect, yes. So this is working fine. We have it in a loop. So it will keep on asking the question till I actually end it. So yes, this is working fine. Now as my step 3, I want to make it time bound so that my son can actually practice with the time itself. Okay, let's add a timer implementation now. So for timer implementation, when this green flag is clicked, of course, for a timer implementation, I want to create a variable. Again, yeah, variables are very, very important. I want to display both these variables on my screen. So maybe time here and a score here. And initially, I would like to initialize it to say 15 seconds or 10 seconds. You can initialize it to whatever time you want. But here we will initialize it to 10 seconds to begin with. So I'm initializing it to 10 seconds. Go to control and we are going to take this command now. Repeat until. What does it mean by repeat until? This loop will continue until this particular condition which we will write inside this block is satisfied. Yes, so we are going to write a particular condition here. What will be this condition? Repeat until my time becomes 0. So repeat until, go to operators, take this and this variable. Repeat until my time becomes, what it becomes? It becomes 0. So this loop will repeat until my time is 0. But where we are changing the time, this is always 10. So what we will do, we will again go to control and take this wait. So it will wait for a second and then reduce the value by 1. Go to variables and reduce the value by 1. Change. change time by -1. So do you see how easy it is to implement your own timer? So when green flag is clicked, set time to 10. Okay, so initially this is 10. If you want to make it a 1 minute practice, make it 60. If you want to make it a 5 minutes practice, make it 300, up to you. Repeat until my time becomes 0, 0, 00, that's okay. Wait for 1 second. After 1 second, change time by -1 and keep repeating it till the time becomes 0. And the time becomes 0, what do we want? We want to stop everything. So for this, we will go to control and we will take this block stop all. So after my time becomes 0, we want to stop everything. So let's test this, which is by step number 3. I need to be a little quicker. Oh, I could answer only one question in 10 seconds. I was so slow, but that's okay. Hope you got the point how we have done this. When this time is done, okay, we are saying stop all. So my game is stopped, but maybe I want to change the background as well, or I want to give a game over message. So for this, we can create a game over backdrop here. So you can paint it something like this. You can name it game over. Write a simple message. You can give it any color of your wish. Resize it as you want. Give it a font as you like. And we have my game over backdrop ready. So again, go to code, and what we will have to do, select this sprite. It is important that you select the sprite. And when this flag is clicked, what do we want? We want the backdrop to be wall 1. Okay. And when my time is over, before stopping everything, we want the backdrop to change to game over. So let's test it and see how is it working. Do you realize what is happening? It is actually taking 1 second before, yeah, and this is game over. We can also hide this. So let's go to looks and hide my character as well. So when we are hiding it here, when green flag is clicked, we will have to show it as well somewhere. So let's test this again. Yes, so this is working fine. My next step is for best score implementation. So as the name suggests, for best score implementation, we are going to take a variable again, and we will name it as best score. I would like to display on the screen, so let it be like this only. And again, we are going to take this if loop, and before ending the game, we will check what is the current score. We will also see if it is greater than my best score. And if it is greater than my best score, the current score will become my best score. So again, we have already taken a if block. We will go to operators and we will put this logic here. So what we are going to check? We are going to check if my score, this score is greater than best score. Okay, if my score is greater than best score, what do we want? The best score to become the existing score. So we are going to use this and set best score to score. Okay, last step is to add graphics. Are you liking when this character is actually wasting your 1 second and asking the questions and checking if it is correct or not correct? We want an instant reply. It is a time bound game. I cannot waste my time. So we are going to add graphics. Instead of saying correct or incorrect, we will add graphics so that my character will actually say tick or cross, tick or cross. So let's do it now as my last step. Last step, I'm going to draw a sprite. I'm going to draw it as simple and can name it basically result, something like this. Yes, so tick, and I am going to create another costume. So make sure that if you're going to create another costume, create it from here, not from this place. If you create it from this place, it will create a new sprite for you. If you want to create a new costume, pick it from here. Pick this sprite, and instead of saying correct or incorrect, anyways we are not liking it, it is wasting our year. It was 2 seconds, so yeah, that is why I was not able to answer questions. It was waiting 2 seconds. Okay, so we do not want it to wait or say something. We want to show these signs, right or wrong. So score if my answer is correct, what we will do, we will actually broadcast a message that it is correct, which will be listened by my this sprite, and it will change the costume accordingly. So we are going to broadcast a message. Broadcast message. What message? Broadcast message correct. Okay. And when this is not correct, then we are going to broadcast a message incorrect. Okay, so we have this sprite broadcasting the messages correct or incorrect. And which sprite will have to listen to it? My sprite one. Okay, you can rename it also. So my sprite is going to receive this back. My sprite is going to receive this message when correct is received or when incorrect is received. We will also have to see when this green flag is clicked, because when green flag is clicked, we do not want this tick or cross sign to appear. Then we want the costume to change to correct. And when I receive a signal incorrect, then switch costume to incorrect. So let's see how it is working. But it is hidden. So that is why we should actually keep on testing. Show it and switch costume. So let's see how it is working. Correct. Yes. Yes. So this seems to be working fine now. So logically, this is working fine, but I want to add some animation magic to it so that, the tick sign appears and then it disappears, appears and then it disappears. So let's see how do we do that. So for this, we are going to create one new block, and you can name this block anything. I'm going to name as animate. So I am creating my own block, define animate, and what do we want? I will tell you why we are creating a block here, but for now, just create this block. This block, first thing, what do we want? Go to looks, and we want this sprite to be visible. Then we are going to use this ghost effect and set ghost effect to 100, ghost effect to 0. What happens? When I just set ghost effect to 0, my sprite will become invisible. See, as soon as I click on this, my sprite becomes invisible. So yes, it is invisible, but I want it to be slowly appearing and then again faded away. So take this repeat loop, repeat 25 times, and we are going to change the ghost effect. Change the ghost effect by -4. So in 25 times, my ghost effect will actually become 0 and my tick sign will be visible. But as soon as it is visible, we want it to hide as well. So we will hide it now. So yes, I was telling you, why do we use a block here? Our own block, which we have created, because the same thing I want to happen on both these, when both these messages are broadcasted, either correct or incorrect. So now it becomes very simple for me. I will have to just attach this animate block here to both the messages, broadcast messages. So this is the final time of testing this. I'm keeping my finger crossed. I hope it will work. So yes, this seems to be working fine. Wow, this is working fine. Okay, and at least my best score could be 3 now. I hope you enjoyed this video as I like to shoot it for all of you guys. So please don't forget to share and subscribe, and see you soon again with an amazing exercise.